Okay, so this is take 2 because apparently I didn't have my microphone on correctly last time. So this week's been a week. This kind of culminated its example, and I'm going to do my best to hit this in about 5 minutes and cover all the things. So I found it interesting that while Jones started with the positives and highlighting Theodore Roosevelt and George M. Cohen and their contributions to giving America our own voice, Jones also held no punches in detailing how the sense of imperialism, patriotism, pride, and isolationism led to strong actions of xenophobia, most specifically towards Austro-German and Japanese peoples, both because of World War I and because Japanese was emerging as an international superpower, or starting to give signs of becoming one. And America was just now finally getting there, and so we were really proud of how far we'd come. But also, that when it's new, it makes it shaky. Your position is shaky. While on the other hand, Stempel, the only thing he said about xenophobia was, in the era of Theodore Roosevelt and his big stick, ardent expressions of nationalism found resonance at home even when they verged on xenophobia. So in the sense of xenophobia, Stempel was much more reluctant to express more about it, whereas Jones was laid heavier on it. And then they flipped when it came to African American contributions to musical theater and the start through the minstrel shows, whereas Stempel was very elaborate in his information, very emotional almost in his takes on it. Jones was very succinct and clear. It wasn't, I said simplified in my written post, but it's not that it was simplified. It was just direct to the point and more like factual and informative. So when you compare the two, and moments it felt like Jones wasn't saying enough, but really Jones covered it. It just wasn't in depth. It was pointed out. It wasn't good. The continuation of stereotypes was a problem. All the main points and ideas of what made it not good were hit. It just, Stempel almost seemed to wax poetic about it, where Jones stated as fact, stated the frustrations, and then moved forward and was staying still. But there were still members of that community who were big contributors, even beyond that. I found everything that's in Pan Alley interesting because I wasn't aware that was a thing. I also, when learning about that, was like, man, it would be great if we still did this. And then I realized we do. It's just not with stage shows. It's with movies and TV shows, where popular songs can find their place in the performances, or the songs from performances can find their place in pop culture. I found Gunboat musicals hilarious. I was like, this what? And then also, of course they would, because it's cheesy and it's naval and it's patriotism, and so much of theater even today is still about artistic license and finding our place in the world and what is too far. And I think that they were really, in trying to find the identity of American theater at this time, I think that there was a lot of what is too far? They were asking, can we do it, not should we do it? I think was kind of a lot of what was happening. And then while we have, Ziegfeld and his Follies and so many other groups doing these big elaborate extravaganzas, Cohen as part of it as well, then on the other side we had the Princess Theater and Curran Bolton and Wodehouse, I believe it's Wodehouse, finding ways to make it more relatable to the everyday man, and trying to make American theater a more legitimate theater that actually could compete. Competable is not the right word, but could actually have skin in the game when it came to the world theater and having its own legitimate source. Stempel said, Kern located a musical theater voice that caught the more casual strength of American colloquial utterance without sacrificing any of its grace. Which is also, when we look back at Cohen, he also said, in relations to your Grand Old Flag, which we still recognize very easily today, that his song addressed the flag with respect, but in colloquial terms that undercut the formal rhetoric expected of such address. You know, the American voice wasn't formal. It wasn't high and fancy, which is what we kind of got the sense of from Europe. We were everyday people. And a lot of finding our own voice in American theater had to do with making it sound more like the American people. So that's what I got, and I'm hoping that answers it.